In every moment of pressure, emotion is the first thing that rises, and logic is the first thing that disappears. Most people lose control not because they don't have the power to win, but because they don't have the discipline to pause. The ability to control your impulse is one of the rarest strengths in the modern world. It's what separates those who merely react from those who truly lead. When emotion takes over, the mind becomes clouded. You might feel anger, excitement, fear, or frustration, and each of these emotions can push you to make a move that you'll later regret. Think of how many people have destroyed opportunities, relationships, and reputations simply because they couldn't pause for 5 seconds before reacting. That small space between emotion and action determines the quality of your decisions and the direction of your destiny. Controlling your impulse doesn't mean suppressing emotion. It means mastering it. You acknowledge the feeling, you understand it, and then you decide whether it deserves to guide your next move. Strategy begins where emotion ends. When you allow your emotions to dictate your choices, you hand your power to the moment. But when you control your emotions, you control the moment itself. Every successful person, whether in business, leadership, or life, understands this principle deeply. They don't make moves out of anger or desperation. They take a step back, breathe, and observe the situation from a higher perspective. They ask themselves, what's the smartest move right now? Not what feels right in the heat of the moment. That difference defines maturity. The impulse to react immediately is a human instinct, especially when pride, ego, or pressure is involved. But emotions are temporary, while the results of your decisions are permanent. When you act on emotion, you're serving your feelings. When you act on strategy, you're serving your future. The one who can stay calm when everyone else is losing control will always have the advantage. Controlling your impulse requires mental training. The same way a warrior trains his body before battle, you must develop awareness. The moment you feel your emotions taking charge, stop. Don't respond. Don't defend. Don't explain. Take a breath and let your logic return. Silence is not weakness, it's preparation. Over time, this control becomes your shield. People who can't manage their emotions are easily manipulated. Those who can stay centered are impossible to break. Emotional discipline makes you unpredictable, and that unpredictability makes you powerful. No one can push your buttons if you've learned to disconnect them. When you master impulse control, you move with intention, not instinct. You begin to choose peace over panic, reflection over reaction, clarity over confusion. Your moves become sharper, your vision clearer, and your confidence unshakable. The true mark of strength is not how loudly you react, but how quietly you think before you act. Most people spend their lives reacting to circumstances instead of creating direction. They move where the world pushes them instead of deciding where they want to go. The difference between a reactive person and a visionary is clarity. A reactive person sees what's in front of them. A visionary sees what's ahead. When you move with vision, your focus becomes stronger than your feelings, and your purpose becomes louder than your emotions. Vision gives you power. It is the invisible map that guides your every decision. Without vision, you're easily distracted by temporary emotions, external noise, and the opinions of others. With vision, you understand that not every battle deserves your energy, and not every comment deserves your attention. Vision allows you to say no to the things that don't align with your path. It reminds you of where you're going even when everything around you seems uncertain. When people don't have a clear vision, they fall into emotional chaos. They overreact to small situations, take offense too easily, or lose motivation at the first sign of failure. But those who walk with vision understand that every setback, every delay, and every rejection is part of the long-term plan. They don't panic because they know their direction is not defined by today's difficulty. They are grounded in a purpose that is bigger than the moment. Vision brings emotional stability. It helps you see beyond the storm. When you know what you're building, you stop letting temporary feelings decide permanent actions. You stop chasing validation and start creating legacy. Vision tells you, this pain is not forever. It's part of the process. When you have that awareness, you rise above reaction. You stop being controlled by emotion and start being guided by intention. Every great achiever, from leaders to artists to entrepreneurs, has faced emotional moments. But what separates them is how they respond. They don't let failure destroy their focus. They don't let success make them arrogant. They stay balanced because their eyes are fixed on the goal, not the distraction. Vision is not just about seeing the future. It's about seeing the purpose behind your present. To live by vision means to move strategically, not emotionally. You measure your actions based on whether they bring you closer to your mission. When your mind is focused on the bigger picture, small things stop breaking your peace. People may misunderstand you, life may test you, but vision keeps you aligned. You stop reacting to noise and start responding to purpose. Developing vision takes reflection. You must ask yourself, what am I really working toward? What kind of person am I becoming? Once your answers are clear, everything else becomes noise. Vision becomes your filter, your guide, your strength. The moment you see your life with purpose, emotion loses its power over you. The clearer your vision, the calmer your reactions. Life is a battlefield of choices, and every choice is a move that shapes your future. The people who rise above chaos don't just act, they calculate. Like skilled chess players, they think several steps ahead. Every word, every decision, and every action carries intention. Strategy is not about moving fast. It's about moving smart. Emotional reactions push you to act now. Strategic thinking empowers you to act right. A chess player never plays the next move just because they feel like it. They study the board, understand their opponent, and anticipate consequences before making a decision. In life, you must do the same. When something happens, don't rush to respond. Analyze. What's the outcome if I act now? What happens if I wait? What message does my action send? Every move either strengthens your position or weakens it. The wise understand this truth and move with purpose. In chess, impulsive players lose quickly because they only focus on the present move. The masters, however, visualize the endgame before they even begin. They think in patterns, possibilities, and probabilities, not emotions. In the same way, your life requires that level of mental discipline. Every project, relationship, and opportunity deserves thought. Ask yourself, does this move align with my long-term vision, or is it just satisfying my current emotion? Planning every step doesn't mean living in fear of failure. It means respecting the power of direction. When you think ahead, you're not reacting to life, you're designing it. Strategy is silent, calm, and patient. Emotional people look busy but make little progress. Strategic people appear quiet but move mountains. Their calmness confuses others because they're not playing the short game. They're focused on the long-term win. A master strategist knows that even a sacrifice can be part of success. Sometimes you have to give up something now to gain something greater later. That's what chess teaches. Control the impulse to win instantly, and instead think about how to win completely. In life, this means delaying gratification, choosing discipline over desire, and letting wisdom lead instead of pride. The emotional mind screams, now, but the strategic mind whispers, wait. The world often rewards those who move with calculation, not reaction. People who think before they act rarely regret their choices because their moves are backed by intention. Before sending that message, signing that deal, or making that decision, think 3 moves ahead. Who benefits? What changes? How does this shape your future self? Strategy also requires patience with yourself. Every move you make is a part of a larger game. Sometimes the best move is not moving at all. Observation itself is a move. Learn to wait for the right time instead of forcing action out of fear. That's how you gain control over your life. By understanding that every move counts and every reaction costs. To move like a chess player is to understand that emotion can win moments, but strategy wins empires. Think ahead, move deliberately. Let patience be your weapon and foresight be your guide. True strength is not found in physical power, loud voices, or quick reactions. It lives in emotional control. Emotional intelligence is the art of mastering your inner world so deeply that no outer situation can shake your balance. It's the ability to understand your emotions, manage them wisely, and use them as tools instead of being used by them. When you develop emotional intelligence, you become unshakable, calm in chaos, patient in pressure, and powerful in peace. Most people are trained to react, not to reflect. They let anger make their decisions, fear limit their potential, and excitement distract them from focus. Emotional intelligence flips that pattern. It allows you to pause, to see your emotions as information, not instructions. You start asking yourself, why do I feel this? Instead of just acting on it. This self-awareness transforms how you communicate, how you lead, and how you live. Emotional intelligence begins with observation. You must learn to watch your emotions rise and fall like waves, knowing that none of them are permanent. Anger fades, sadness passes, joy evolves. When you stop identifying with every emotion, you start gaining authority over yourself. That's the real freedom, not being emotionless, but being emotionally wise. In life, people with high emotional intelligence rarely lose control. They understand that power is not shown through reaction, but through restraint. They can walk away from arguments that go nowhere, stay calm in front of disrespect, and think clearly under pressure. They know that silence can speak louder than anger and that patience often wins battles that force cannot. Emotional intelligence also helps you understand others. You begin to notice what people mean, not just what they say. You can sense the emotion behind their tone, the insecurity behind their attitude, and the pain behind their behavior. This doesn't make you weaker, it makes you wiser. You stop taking things personally and start responding with empathy, which strengthens your relationships and leadership. In the professional world, emotional intelligence is a superpower. Skills may get you the job, but emotional control keeps you in the game. Leaders who stay calm under pressure inspire trust. Teammates who handle criticism with grace become indispensable. People naturally follow those who can manage both their emotions and the energy of others. Emotional intelligence is not about avoiding conflict. It's about managing it with wisdom. Developing emotional intelligence takes consistent practice. You build it by journaling your feelings, taking a breath before reacting, and reflecting after difficult conversations. It's about awareness, not perfection. Over time, you begin to respond with logic where you once reacted with emotion. You learn that every emotional storm is a chance to strengthen your inner discipline. When you master emotional intelligence, life becomes lighter. You no longer waste energy fighting things you can't control. You channel that energy into growth, strategy, and peace. The real strength lies not in being hard, but in being balanced. Not in suppressing emotions, but in mastering them until they serve your purpose instead of stealing your power. Success doesn't belong to those who move the fastest. It belongs to those who refuse to stop. The world glorifies intensity, quick bursts of effort, overnight success stories, and sudden transformations. But the truth is, nothing lasting is built overnight. Real success is built quietly. In the unseen hours of consistent work, when no one is watching and motivation has faded, intensity excites you, consistency transforms you. Anyone can give 100% for a day, but few can give 80% every day for years. That's what separates the ordinary from the exceptional. The emotional person works hard when they feel inspired. The strategic person works hard even when they don't. Discipline begins where emotion ends. When you build the habit of showing up no matter how you feel, you start developing power that can't be taken away from you. Consistency is the slow fire that forges greatness. It's not about working nonstop or burning out. It's about building rhythm, about turning effort into a lifestyle. Think of how water shapes stone. It's not force but persistence. Day after day, it keeps flowing in the same direction until it creates a path. The same happens with you. Every small, steady action moves you closer to your vision. You may not see the results right away, but every repetition is building the foundation for something bigger. Intensity is emotional. Consistency is strategic. Intense people start strong but fade when challenges arise. Consistent people plan their energy, protect their focus, and stay the course. They understand that motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes, but commitment is a decision. When you rely only on motivation, your progress depends on your mood. When you rely on discipline, your progress depends on your mindset. The key is to fall in love with the process, not just the reward. When your focus shifts from outcome to effort, consistency becomes natural. You start valuing the act of becoming better more than the praise that comes with it. You begin to realize that every day is a brick in the wall of your legacy. You might not build the entire structure today, but you can always lay one more brick, strong, straight, and steady. Consistency also builds trust with others and with yourself. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your self-respect. Each time you follow through, you remind your mind that your words mean something. Confidence isn't built in a single moment of victory. It's built through hundreds of quiet moments of effort that no one sees. When you practice consistency, you become unstoppable. Not because you never get tired, but because you never give up. Even when you move slowly, you're still moving forward. And that's the secret. The steady walker always overtakes the runner who keeps stopping. In every area of life, health, business, relationships, or growth. Intensity can start the journey, but only consistency will finish it. The ones who win are not those who shine once, but those who keep showing up even when the lights go out. Every setback carries a lesson that success could never teach. The difference between those who rise and those who fall isn't the absence of failure. It's the ability to learn from it. Life will test you, break your plans, and sometimes make you start over from zero. But the truth is, failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every setback is data, every mistake is feedback, and every fall is preparation for the rise. Emotional people see setbacks as endings. Strategic people see them as education. When something doesn't go your way, the emotional response is to give up, blame others, or feel unworthy. But the strategic mind pauses and asks, "What is this trying to teach me?" That simple question turns pain into power. It shifts your focus from what went wrong to what can be improved. Failure becomes a teacher instead of an enemy. Every time you fail, life is showing you what doesn't work. And that's progress. Think of inventors, entrepreneurs, or great thinkers. Every one of them failed more times than they succeeded. They didn't escape setbacks, they embraced them. Each loss refined their strategy. They studied their mistakes with curiosity, not shame. That's how growth happens, through observation, reflection, and adjustment. Learning from setbacks requires emotional maturity. It's easy to be confident when everything works. The real test comes when nothing does. Can you still believe in your vision when it feels like everything is falling apart? Can you still move forward when you feel defeated? The people who grow through pain don't let emotions drive them. They let experience guide them. When you treat failure as feedback, you begin to develop resilience, a quiet power that no one can take from you. Resilience is not about ignoring pain, it's about using it. It's about turning disappointment into direction. Each failure teaches patience, humility, and wisdom. The mistake you make today becomes the strength you use tomorrow, if you choose to learn instead of complain. Setbacks also expose your weak points, not to embarrass you, but to improve you. If you listen carefully, every failure whispers a truth you need to hear. Maybe it's telling you to prepare better, communicate clearly, plan differently, or trust yourself more. Those lessons are worth far more than the comfort of an easy win. Growth often hides behind discomfort, and wisdom is born from reflection. Strategic thinkers don't fear failure because they understand its value. They document what happened, adjust their methods, and move forward smarter than before. Each time they rise, they carry new insight. Every setback becomes a chapter in their evolution. They don't chase perfection, they chase progress. When you start viewing setbacks as stepping stones, your entire mindset changes. You no longer see obstacles as barriers. You see them as teachers. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" That's how true strength develops, not by avoiding pain, but by mastering the lesson it brings. The real measure of strength is not how you act when everything is calm. It's how you stand when everything falls apart. Chaos tests character. It reveals who's controlled by emotion and who's guided by purpose. In life, storms will come: pressure, pain, loss, betrayal, uncertainty. But the ones who rise are not the ones who panic. They're the ones who stay grounded. To move with strategy, not emotion, you must learn to be calm in the middle of the storm. Staying unshakable doesn't mean you don't feel fear or doubt. It means you don't surrender to them. Everyone feels emotions. The difference is how you respond. The emotional mind reacts to every wave that hits. The strategic mind becomes the anchor. When the world around you changes, you don't fight the storm. You adjust your sails. You understand that chaos is temporary, but your purpose is permanent. When you stay calm under pressure, you gain clarity that emotional people lose. You see patterns that panic hides. You make decisions that others overlook. Calmness is a form of power, not weakness. It allows you to think clearly while others drown in confusion. The one who can stay centered when everything else is falling apart becomes the leader everyone looks to. Being unshakable also means trusting timing. Sometimes chaos comes not to destroy you, but to redirect you. What feels like the end is often the beginning of a better path. Strategic people know how to wait, how to listen, and how to move when the moment is right. Emotion rushes, strategy reads the situation. Even in pain, they plan. Even in loss, they learn. Strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's silent. It's in the deep breath before reacting. It's in the choice to remain composed when provoked. It's in walking away from drama, not because you're weak, but because your peace is too valuable. Every time you refuse to let chaos control your emotions, you win an invisible battle that strengthens your mind. When you stay unshakable, life starts to respect your discipline. You begin to attract clarity, stability, and power. People who once tested you start to trust you. Situations that once broke you no longer affect you. Because you've evolved. You've learned to stand tall, to think clearly, and to move only when it's wise to move. That's mastery. And remember, this chaos doesn't break strong people. It reveals them. Every storm you've survived has built you into someone more focused. more fearless, and more strategic. You no longer chase calm, you create it. You no longer depend on emotions, you guide them. That's the difference between reacting to life and leading it. Life will always test your emotions, but your victory will always come from strategy. Control your impulse, protect your vision, plan your moves, master your emotions, stay consistent, learn from every setback, and remain unshakable when storms rise. Because in the end, emotions fade, but strategy endures. The one who moves with discipline, not distraction, always wins the long game.